Hello beauties, welcome back to the Jolie Beauty channel. Today I've got a really quick video for you. So I was asking you guys on my personal Instagram, which is jolie.cash by the way, go and follow me if you haven't already, you know, what your beauty dilemmas were out there. And a lot of you were saying that you had under eye creasing with concealer, fine lines underneath your eyes that you were dealing with, you didn't know how to cover them up properly, or basically that your under eye was just like looking deteriorated throughout the day. And I have found a routine that I absolutely love, and I just wanted to share it with you in this like really quick video. So if you're interested in learning how to do your under eyes with less creasing, less dryness, and looking fresher throughout the day with your makeup, then just keep on watching. I'm going to show you all my tips and tricks. So the first step of getting a lovely smooth under eye with your concealer is preparation. Think of it this way, you don't paint a wall unless the surface is nice and clean and flat. If you paint a wall and it's got cracks in it or there's, you know, texture, then the paint is still going to show that texture underneath. And although we can't fill our fine lines and wrinkles because obviously our face moves with expression when we laugh, and if we were to try and fill it, it would start to crack and look even worse. So the best thing to do is to plump up that under eye and just nourish it as much as possible. So today, to nourish my under eyes, I'm going to be using the Uni-Glow Bright Eyes Serum. Now, this serum has been specially formulated to go underneath the eye and underneath makeup. So unlike a cream product where you might get slip and slide when you put concealer on top, this has been formulated to go in and be a little bit tacky, a little bit sticky, yet really hydrate the eye. Ingredients like hyaluronic acid and vitamin E are going to plump up those fine lines and wrinkles and give you a much smoother canvas to work on, and you only need a couple of drops. So definitely prepare your eye and make sure it is super smooth before you go in with any other product. So I'm just taking a pump of the Uni-Glow Bright Eyes Serum. You honestly need such a tiny amount, and I just always take my ring finger because this is the gentlest motion that you can possibly use on your face. Any other fingers might start to tug and pull at the skin, and we want to avoid that, okay? Like, do not tug and pull at your skin when doing anything around your eyes. So I'm just starting off with tapping that serum underneath my eyes. And like I said, you really don't need very much. Just a couple of drops will do, and it will really hydrate the area, and your products will sit a lot better throughout the day. By having that moisturising layer of serum, I really feel like you can get away with just a little bit more powder, especially for those older skin types as well. So next it's time to move on to the concealer. So today I'm going to be using the Jolie Essential High Coverage Concealer, but any concealer will do. I like this one just because it's got a little bit of a self set, so that means I can use a little bit less powder on top, and for me that means that it settles into my fine lines a little bit less. So if you are struggling with a little bit of creasing or dryness under your eye, maybe looking for a self-setting concealer might be a good tip as well. But honestly, just try these tips with whatever concealer that you have and you should see an improvement either way. So the first tip with the concealer is the amount of concealer that we're going to put on. If you're struggling with creasing, it could be that you're putting too much product under your eye. The trick is to make the product as minimal as possible. So I'm just going in and I'll just put a dot under here, a little bit under there, and maybe just where I've got the most blue part of my eye. And just taking the Base Blend Pro sponge, I'm going to tap that in, bringing the product down into where I haven't put as much product. So that's in the centre here. Just be as sparing as you can be. You can always go in and add more, but you can't take away. So build it up in nice thin layers. As you can see, I've only put a tiny bit of concealer on. By not going too crazy with the coverage, I know it's tempting to put more on because you feel like you want more coverage, but it will last and perform better throughout the day if you try and minimise the amount that you put on and put it in the key areas that I just showed you. So that's my concealer on. I am going to be setting my concealer today, but I'm not going to be doing a hard bake or anything. Like I said before, when it comes to creasing or fine lines or dryness underneath your eye, you want to minimise the product that you're putting on. So when I'm trying to minimise any of that kind of creasing, I will take just a fluffy brush like this, and I'll tap it into my powder. Today I'm using the Mercier Secret Brightening Powder, and I take as little product as possible, just making sure that I haven't got any creasing already, because obviously if I set the powder into crease concealer, it's going to set the creases. So make sure it's as smooth as possible with your sponge, and then just tap the powder underneath the eye just to set it. And because I'm using a concealer that sets a little bit already, I can use a lot less powder, and that should lock it in place all day. I also find with this method, if you want to reapply your concealer throughout the day, you're also not reapplying your concealer onto a baked eye. So obviously if you're going to go in with your liquid concealer throughout the day over somewhere that you've heavily powdered, it's going to start looking really textured and not nice at all. So this method also allows you to touch up a lot, which I think is quite important to note, because a lot of us want to, you know, in the middle of the day, add a little bit more concealer underneath our eyes, and this technique allows you to do that. So our concealer is nice and set, and this is the final trick, which I feel like has really changed up my whole concealer game. So when I've finished all the concealer and the setting and it's all in place, I like to go back in with my sponge, and then I take the Uni-Glow Mythical Mist. So this is a refreshing skin mist. It's a glow mist, and you can use it all over your face throughout the day to give your skin like a lovely glow and revive the products that you're wearing. However, I have found that if I take a little bit of this onto my sponge and just give it a few spritzes, I can then take the sponge underneath my eye and just dab it on where I've put that powder product. Make sure it's not too wet, you don't want to remove anything. And this technique will just refresh that powder, and it will turn it back into looking really skin-like. It takes away that heavy powdery look and revives it, and that's because it's got key ingredients such as glycerin, so it's really going to help your eye hang on to that moisture underneath and stop that powder like sucking all the moisture. And obviously that dryness is what causes like the creasing and the cracking, so we want to keep our under eyes covered up, but we want to keep them hydrated as well, and this is just such an awesome hack for that. So yeah, those are my tips. That is the way I've been doing my concealer recently. I hope you really enjoyed those tips and tricks. I do want to remind you guys that it is so natural to have fine lines and lines underneath the eyes. I know in this like Instagram perfect world, it can seem like everybody's totally flawless and airbrushed, and you see selfies, but our lines and our, you know, expressions make us who we are. So let's just rock them. Obviously, we all want to reduce the appearance of them every now and again. So I hope this video gives you some tips and tricks, but also helps you embrace the fact that, you know, we all do have lines and wrinkles, and it is completely normal. So hope you enjoyed this short video. Give the video a big thumbs up if you liked it. I will link everything that I use down below as well. Make sure to follow us on Instagram, Jolie Beauty, and also my personal Instagram as well, jolie.cash. Give this video a big thumbs up if you liked it, hit that subscribe button, and don't forget to turn on notifications as well. See you in the next one, guys. Mwah!